Anyone who has been a race car driver, in my opinion, is a badass in their own right. By having strapped into a pressure cooker of speed and danger, one has to stop and ask, why? So when one of the best running backs of all time does this, you more than likely would have to double down on that question.
On the football field, he was a natural, accelerating through holes, rushing for more yards than any man in NFL history. Now he accelerates on the racetrack, and he thinks in terms of miles, not yards.
Racing, it's more mental, and you have to be relaxed. Just like in football, you have to be relaxed just before you make a move or just before you get out there and touch the ball. But here it's more so because the car, you got to become a part of the car.
When Payton left behind his football helmet in favor of a racing helmet, he entered an entirely new world.
Auto racing, you can't hit back. Football, you could. You know, if you had the ball and somebody was coming up, you know, you could throw an elbow. But with auto racing, you can't hit. So if something happens, somebody cuts you off, or you get frustrated, what do? You can't hit them. The car brake part.
I suppose we'll always think of Walter Payton as a football player first and foremost, but he takes auto racing very seriously. In fact, last month at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, he not only won a race, he practically lapped the field. In little more than 2 years on the track, Payton has earned the respect of other racers.
You got to come up the ladder just like in anything. And when they saw that I wasn't looking for a free ride and I wanted to work my way up, then you have that respect and understanding.
There's no Super Bowl to shoot for in racing, but Sweetness has other goals to shoot for.
If I could say, well, this is where I want to go and this is a chance where I'd probably think about doing Le Mans, 24 hours at Le Mans, or doing something at Daytona, 24 hours, some endurance races.
What I just showed you was one of my local news station's early 90s reports on race car driver Walter Payton. Yes, I and the newscast said that right. Race car driver Walter Payton. For those of you who may not know, Walter Payton was most famously known as the longtime running back of the Chicago Bears, an instrumental piece in the 1985 Super Bowl winning Bears squad, and one of the leaders in NFL history at the running back position in every major category. But naturally, the time in the NFL spotlight waned for the man nicknamed Sweetness. Growing up in Northern Illinois, I can tell you that Walter Payton is viewed as a cultural god here. Even me, as a Minnesota Vikings fan, can say confidently that Walter Payton is straight up one of, if not the greatest running back of all time. He's just a badass. With his 1988 retirement, though, Payton had much more time on his hands. From 1977 to 2016, Toyota would hold Celebrity Grand Prix events, and Payton ran in them in both 1988 and 1989. When he finished with the 1988 edition of the race, he was quoted as saying, "That was a blast. I want to try that again." He attended driving schools and competed in the SCAA Sports 2000 series, which was an amateur series. His first race was at Road America, and he would end up finishing in the 18th position. After winning the SCAA GT1 championship during the 1990 June Sprint, Payton decided to go pro and run the SEC Trans Am Series. He teamed up with fellow celebrity racer Paul Newman to race in the Newman Sharp Racing team. Young fans might know Newman as Doc Hudson from Cars. He only lasted 13 laps at Road America in his first start before his engine expired. He continued to gain seat time though, teaming up with Ron Fellows in 1992, where he finished a career-high 8th at Road America. He would go on to finish 13th in the final point standings. Payton was slowly improving year after year, but as it would turn out, 1993 would be its final run as a pro driver. In a practice session for the Trans Am race in 1993 at Road America, he suffered from a terrible crash. Directly in front of him, driver Dick Danielson's car slowed down immensely because of a broken transmission. Sweetness had no way of missing him, driving over his left rear wheel and flipping the Budweiser Mustang he was driving. The car was on fire and upside down. Luckily, though, he only suffered some minor burns on his neck and left arm. At the age of 40 in 1994, he decided to hang up the helmet and buy into Dale Coyne's IndyCar program, creating Payton Coyne Racing. He owned 17% of the team. This naming of the team would last from 1995 to 2000, with the team's best finish in that span being in Michigan in 1996 with Brazilian driver Roberto Moreno. where he would finish in the 3rd position out of 27. The partnership started to sour in 1999 as Payton sued Coyne. In 1998, CART had become a publicly traded stock and each team received a certain set of shares. Apparently, when Coyne sold the team shares, he didn't compensate Walter. Yet, even with this, the two still kept it strictly about business and didn't allow this to tarnish their personal friendship. Now, this may have been in large part due to their good nature towards one another and his people, and also the fact that Payton was suffering from a rare liver illness. The illness prevented him from going to the track or out in public much at all. On April 12, 1999, Payton made his final public appearance, this time at the Chicago Cubs home opener with his former Bears coach, Mike Ditka. Payton spent the last weeks and months of his life working on his autobiography, Never Die Easy. On November 1st, 1999, at the age of 45, Payton passed away due to complications with his illness. Tributes were performed all across the nation, and especially among sports organizations. In the NFL, every team held ceremonies to celebrate his legacy. The Chicago Bears wore number 34 patches on their jerseys to honor him and went on to beat their arch-nemesis rivals, the Packers. In racing, there were also tributes as well. In CART at the season opener in 1999, decals were on every car reading "Get Well Sweetness," and it was accompanied by a helmet with the number 34 on it, all in Bears colors. Many during the season had commented that Payton always would be at the track when he was well, and reminisced about him. His legacy as a great competitor and a great man would live on forever in racing, just as it did in football. And now, with this, I want to pass his story and legacy on to you. Did you ever know about Walter Payton being a race car driver? Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel for more great NASCAR content. And until next time, have a good one.